We're most fortunate in collaborating with our community as we move forward in implementing this program for all and providing this opportunity for individuals to play a greater role in the design of their service delivery. We're excited to see individuals achieve their goals, participate in their communities with individualized services and supports of their choosing. And with that, I thank you once again for sharing some of your afternoon with us, and I'm going to turn this back to Dr. Will.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome everybody. We have an exciting afternoon with a lot of individuals who are very invested in self-determination. So we're very excited for you to be here for our kickoff campaign. I'm going to help facilitate and moderate our different panel speakers. You can see a large panel and a lot of perspectives today. So after the presentations, we will allow for Q&A and have discussions. So please make sure you use our chat, and then we can also have discussion and invite people to have conversations as well towards the end. Our next individual that will be speaking, I'm excited to announce John Francis, the chair of North LA's Self-Determination Local Volunteer Advisory Committee.
Wonderful, thank you, Dr. Weller, and thank you, Director Janka, Ruth, for your words of inspiration. I want to thank you for your leadership, and it's just really wonderful to see all of your supportive faces here today. But I want to thank you, Ms. Ruth Janka, for your leadership, your service to folks across the spectrum, and for your expertise and commitment to the delivery of this service as well. And thank you for the additional constructive meetings we've had over the past months in collaboration together with Deputy Director Rolfes, Chief Financial Officer. Kim, plays a key role here, and she has vowed to stay connected to North LA in order to enable her predecessor, even after she plans to move on and out of onto other endeavors this year. So, and of course, Chief of Program Services, Dr. Weller. Jesse, thank you for your exemplary leadership. It is a treasure, and we appreciate your efforts in getting us to this point of an official statewide kickoff campaign. And how exciting is this? So there are so many others. I could single out other principals at North LA in the self-determination team, Sylvia Harrow, Gabby Estrada, and others outside of that. I know Judy Mark is on the line today. Thank you. She obviously is a member of who wrote the law that which brings us here today. To all of the advisory committee members, family members, Richard Deere, Sandra Baker, Ellen Janal, Josefina Roma, and all the others, self-advocates, Jordan Feinstock, and all of the panel that are all on the panel today, and you'll meet them later, as well as Rachel Leach is on the panel today, Disability Rights California. But thank you all for your commitment to the cause. I do want to say, echoing others that I've heard, that there are obvious contentious challenges ahead, disputes and even opposition out there to the program, but something's got to give, and I think we're in the midst of it now. And it's been a long time coming, and many among us have risen to the occasion and as unsung heroes to meet the needs of others, and how many more I can only sympathize with that have suffered, that some of you have endured over the years, this past year and a half, the pandemic, illnesses, we've lost loved ones and friends. And a lyric comes to mind: when you think that you've lost everything, you find out you can always lose a little more, to quote Bob Dylan. I would imagine this unfortunately resonates with some of you, and I'm sorry for your loss. I hope you never let it defeat you, that your despair, your grief, your hopelessness never completely consumes you, and you're not alone. Don't give up. Something's got to give here, and I think you've come to the right place to start a new beginning. And through these vulnerable times, we've learned lessons and best practices, are are breaking through. And so we ask nothing more of you, but for your open mind and to stay the course. And maybe you show up here today curious, maybe you come here with a healthy sense of skepticism, and thank you for being here nonetheless, because I think given this law that is self-determination, that that we're embarking on solutions here, and not just finally get one's unmet needs addressed, and after how many years of disparity or whatever may be your unique case, but to address a civil rights issue that has been with us for how long, leading up to the Civil Rights Act signed into law in 64. And of course, the Americans with Disabilities Act signed into law some 26 years later. But here now to address the matter of justice for all, including those among us with intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities, but to implement a platform of service delivery where the person is in charge. And if we can all be good stewards of the principles within the law and continue to advocate for those among us who are not always the loudest voices or the most powerful, the principles of freedom, authority, responsibility, confirmation, where your role is critical in the decision-making process, with a measure of financial control over one's budget in order to spend and afford for the needs you see fit. So most of us understand and discover that long ago, this essential piece that is required to lead a self-determined life. And it should be no different for folks with special needs. And now the opportunity is before us and going statewide as of July 1st, 2021. So there's so many experts on this panel today, far more versed than I, and to help us lead the way in transitioning you or your son, your daughter, or your cousin or friend or into the program. And just remember, we are all together following in the footsteps of I think, the righteous civil rights activists of the 60s who walked the walk before us. And I mean, to quote Professor Joseph Campbell, for the hero's path of all time have gone before us. We have only to follow the thread of the hero path. And I would include a paraphrasing of Brene Brown. We're most courageous when out of our vulnerability do we dare to lead the way, confronting hard truths. So I am John Francis, your chair of the Self-Determination Local Advisory Committee. I'm a family member to my nephew who has special needs, my brother's oldest son. I did have the good fortune to reconnect with him, and most of my family and extended family is at a memorial for my dad in Louisiana. This was some 15 months due to the quarantine order, shutting everything down. But two important things I want to say come to mind for me, saying, seeing my young school-age nephew, his excitement for life is uninhibited, his reactions to what's going on around him are honest, his tenderness in reaching out to others, grieving, and his joy was infectious. And I respect him for that. And this juxtaposed with how his parents are getting older. My brother, his wife, everyone seems to have a litany of health issues to share, and so many others, aging friends or family, seniors in attendance. But it reminds me of how many parents I've encountered in the short 2 decades of service to the community that I've had, but how important this program is to families who have feared the worst for their children, challenged with special needs, and the agonizing thought of what will become of them upon their departure, from this world as we know it. The traditional service system is broken and has failed far too many families. And even though it has worked for some and still work for many, but primarily for those that hold person-centered thinking dear to them, but for how many, self-determination is long overdue. And perhaps now we can begin to close the gap of ethnic disparities and work towards better outcomes for folks that for far too long services have proved unattainable or have left much to be desired, and still others have endured abuse as a result and will likely live with the scars and PTSD for the remainder of their lives. But person-centered thinking and implemented universally is long overdue. And this program has proven to be the answer to the fears of parents longing for justice for their children. And finally, for many who are there, in their senior years now, and and can for the first time build that core circle of support that works directly for the person and not the agency, not bound to the agency, but partnering and facilitating supported decision-making whenever necessary or not. And parents are imagining a brighter future for their child and are seeing glimpses of better outcomes before their eyes, even now. And I thank you, and I'll give it over to Dr. Weller. Thank you all for being here.
Okay, I have the privilege of introducing Christina Canarella. Christina is a board member at North LA County Regional Center, and Christina is also a liaison between the Board of Trustees and the Self-Determination Local Volunteer Advisory Committee. I will turn it over to you, Christina.
All right, thank you, Jesse, and thank you, Ruth and John, for sharing. And I just want to first thank North Los Angeles Regional Center as a whole for the support that you have shown us in implementing the self-determination program and even holding this town hall kickoff. I'm very grateful to the leadership at Regional Center that you take our suggestions and you listen closely and you implement and you hear what we're saying and you problem solve. So thank you for creating this platform for us today. So there are so many facets to self-determination and so many different areas that I could speak on, and I was trying to think of where I fit best in this scheme of things. And the reason I became a board member was because I saw a fair amount of people in a community, and as we know, there's 350,000 regional center consumers across the state of California. There's 28,000 consumers here in the North Los Angeles Regional Center alone. There is not one box that will fit all of those regional center consumers, obviously. And even though there are many options for services for consumers and families, there are many consumers and families that don't have services or don't have the appropriate services for the needs of what they have. A little bit about myself. I am a mother of two boys, my son Johnny and Zach. Johnny is behind me right here. Johnny is a regional center consumer. He's 23 years old, just transitioned out of school age, out of the school district into now adulthood. And the parent center director at the school he went to, Leachman Community Transition Center, Career and Transition Center. And I saw that there were a lot of regional center consumers who were really at a loss, parents who were terrified as to what was the next step for their children as they transitioned out of school. And when we're in it as parents, any of you who are parents on here, we take one day at a time. We try to plan. We might think we want to plan for the future, but that doesn't always happen because of the challenge that our children may require. So I saw that there was a community of people that were being kind of left out. We're not being able to receive services that that they needed, and it's challenging. There's a lot of aspects to it, but Johnny has a lot of health medical needs. He has behavioral challenge. He's a non-traditional speaker. He doesn't use words to speak. So there's a lot of high level of support needs that he needs. And there's a wide range of services, again, that each consumer needs. And so it was hard, and has been hard to find services under the traditional model for Johnny and others like him because of the range of support needs. And I also came from a background of having Johnny be fully included in his home school, which was Taft High School. He was the only student out of 2,700 students, the only student with a label of a moderate to severe disability. So coming from that world, knowing the benefit of being part of your community and how it doesn't just benefit Johnny as a person feeling like a place of belonging, but a benefit to everybody else around Johnny. I get emotional saying this because it really hits at the core of I think who we are as human beings, to accept one another for who we are, regardless of the challenges that we have. And every single human being has something of value to offer, regardless of the limitations that are put on them. And so much in our whole society has always been, from the state institutions that our community were forced to live in, to where they are now. We've come a long ways, but we still have a long ways to go. And the long way to go is complete independence, and not just independence, but interdependence. And it's really important that we recognize that, because we all have support needs. We all need to rely on one another. And yes, we want our children or our consumers or our friends or our family members to be as independent as possible, but we don't want them to feel isolated. We want them to be independent within their community. And what self-determination does is that it gives them a chance, it gives them a choice, it gives them flexibility, it gives them autonomy to be able to create what's going to work best for that individual, that participant. And it's not, there's a lot of aspects to self-determination, and something that many of you have heard of or will hear going through the process is this person-centered plan. And what that is, and it's a person-centered, but self-determination is, it's person-centered. It's not parent-centered. It's not service provider-centered. It's not agency-centered or regional center service-centered or DDS-centered. It's person-centered. And it's looking at what that person's hopes and dreams are for their future. And as a mother of a son who does not use traditional language, he can't tell me when he's not feeling good what hurts him. I have learned, like many of you in similar situations have learned, that their behavior is their communication, and learn alternate ways of communicating with them. And I thought that self-determination, how am I ever going to get Johnny to tell me what his hopes and dreams are, right? And I thought maybe this wasn't for him, because he has nursing care that he requires. He has a lot of medical issues, and he has behavioral issues, and maybe there's too much for him to be under this program, but it's actually the opposite. It's exactly where he needs to be, because of the choice, the flexibility, the autonomy, the responsibility. And there are so many people in this, within our systems, that will help us get through the process. I'm going through it now with Johnny. Johnny's going through it now with me. And I also want to just touch on, and I'm almost done, but I was looking at this, and as a parent, again, we have a lot of fear. We have a lot of fear of what will happen to our children when we are no longer here, like John shared. And we have a lot of fear of what if our kids are out without us, what's going to happen if they live on their own, how are they going to manage, but we need to really kind of look deeper within ourselves. And yes, we have fear, and we will always want to protect our kids, but don't we want what's best for our children? Don't we want what they want? And let's figure out what that is and support them. So I encourage you to turn your fear into freedom for your children. Turn your anxiety into the autonomy that they will have. And it doesn't mean that they will be apart from you, that they won't need you, that they won't, that you won't be in their lives. It is giving them what they want for their life. And I will leave you with these two quotes from Johnny's favorite person and my favorite person, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers says, "Nobody else can live the life you live." And we have to remember that nobody else can live the life you live. And he says, as human beings, our job in life is to help people realize how rare and valuable each one of us really is. That each of us has something that no one else has or ever will have, something inside that is unique to all time. It's our job to encourage each other to discover that uniqueness and to provide ways of developing its expression. Self-determination is a way to develop the self-expression of individuals who have been so left out of the equation of humanity, have been so left out of our community and our society. And the benefit to inclusion in our community goes through everybody who is involved in it. It is a platform for compassion, empathy, patience, tolerance, acceptance, kindness, understanding, and unconditional love that all of us can continue to have more of. So thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you so much. You embody the passion and the vulnerability, and I'm sure people can connect with it. And it's exactly what our Kickoff campaign is all about, of talking about these experiences. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And so the next speaker that we have, I'm pleased and proud to have Jennifer St. Jude with us. Jennifer is a self-advocate and can speak on behalf of the Self-Determination Program. And Jennifer was noticed by our leadership team on Jennifer's efforts of encouraging families to not feel discouraged with self-determination, to not let it feel overwhelming, that it is possible. So Jennifer is here with us today, and I will turn it over to you.
Hi, I was unexpectedly, I wasn't expecting to be on so soon. My name is Jennifer St. Jude, and I am a SDP participant. And I wanted to just come on and share a couple of things that I felt might be helpful. When I attended the orientation and the information meeting, I didn't know the language. I was really a little bit overwhelmed, and I didn't know how SDP was going to change my current experience, which I was pretty confident I understood the current experience. And in listening to it, it felt a little bit, I guess, scary. Like, you know, you'll be in charge of this and you'll have to take care of that. And honestly, I was struggling so much. I didn't know how I was going to be able to do all those things that it sounded like I was being given responsibility for. And so one of the things I wanted to point out is that the orientation and the information meeting shares a whole lot of information and a lot of nuts and bolts about the program, which can seem and feel really overwhelming. But in actuality, the SDP program has been really wonderful and really freeing. I think that the two pieces that really felt overwhelming was the FMS piece and the IF piece. That you know, being told that I had to pay my employees and worry about insurance and do all this stuff was like terrifying, because there's not something that I felt that I could do. And all the ins and outs and the spending plan and the budget. So I just wanted to share that the FMS that you hire is going to be the person that handles all that if you choose and need that help. And so that was very freeing to know that there was a piece covered by that, and there's help with that. And as far as the ins and outs of the program and creating a budget and spending plan, that's the piece that the IF will do. So you have help with the things that seem really overwhelming that are being put in your hands. You have help, and it allows you to then take advantage of the rest of the program, which has been really amazing. I find that the traditional program in and of itself is very much inside a box that not everyone can benefit from. I think that, you know, everyone is unique and different, like a lot of people said, and when you have specific needs that don't fit in the box, usually it's that you either have to be forced into a program that's not helpful to you, or not take advantage of it at all and get no help. So that has always been where I've fallen into, like, this doesn't really work for me, but there's nothing else. So I have nothing, or I have something that doesn't work. And being an SDP has allowed me to have a unique experience that's best for me, so I can create something and get the help I need and get the support that I need in the way that I need. And that's been amazing, because I've had services for years and I've never been able to get what I needed ever. I haven't, that was too restrictive, and then nothing was the only other option. So, and I also have 2 children on the spectrum, and I found the exact same thing with them, that what was being, especially in my area, I live in Antelope Valley, what was being offered to them was for very restrictive, severely disabled individuals. And even that probably wasn't best for them, but that was all that was available. And it was, so we just chose not to have services at all. And that was equally not helpful. And I'm in the process of getting them into self-determination, and my personal experience has been super positive. I feel like I have to keep forcing myself to think outside the box, because I keep wanting to, okay, I can't do that, I can't do this, and then my IF will remind, I'm sorry, I'm in the desert, and it's like I'm in a room that's really hot. But my IF keeps reminding me, well, that was the old program, and in the new program you can do that. And that I just, it has given me hope. I mean, I felt really, you know, for lack of a better word, really depressed. You know, my life was such that I needed certain supports that would allow me to engage life, and they weren't available, and nothing was the only alternative. And it has been very dark for a long time. And I feel like I'm finally getting back into participating into the world and into life, which has been life transforming. It really has. So I'm a huge fan of SDP. I think that it is a wonderful thing. And if you get scared off by the information session or the orientation session, don't worry. I mean, you have help with all that, navigating all that. And the program itself is wonderful and amazing and worth the transition and the challenges that you might just have to go through a little bit to get into it. So I just wanted to share my experience, and I hope that, you know, it encourages everyone to give it a shot, because I think once you get a feel for it, you'll really realize how incredibly wonderful it is, and how freeing it is, and how uniquely it really is supports and services and a program that fits the unique needs of the unique individual, which is not something that has been available in the traditional program. So yeah, I just encourage everyone to hang in there and keep moving forward in the process. It's worth it. So thank you for letting me share here today.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so much. Very well said. And it's always important to hear voices of individuals that are in self-determination, self-advocates about how the program's working or not working, and to give that feedback. And the point that really resonates, I think, is to get support, and that the flexibility and to be thinking about all the opportunities. So thank you so much for being here with us today. All right. Thank you. So the next part of our kickoff campaign, I have the opportunity of introducing members of our SDP Local Volunteer Advisory Committee, and I'm going to be starting with Jordan Feinstock, who is the co-chair to the committee with John Francis. And Jordan, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about who you are, why you joined the committee, and any tips or anything for the community on getting engaged and getting excited for self-determination.
I sure will. Thank you, Dr. Weller. I will follow in my colleagues, if you will, footsteps, and I will also add a quote. And I will dedicate this quote to Harvey and his wife, you know, the Lapins, and to Judy. If opportunity doesn't knock, build the door. And that was said by Milton Berle. That's what they have done. They have built a door where to make new opportunities. They didn't tear anything down, they built a door. And when I say tear down, I'm not a person, I'll start by saying I am Jordan Feinstock, chair of our committee, vice chair of our committee. I was the chair for a while, and now I'm lucky enough to be the vice chair under working with John Francis. So I'm excited. I came to the committee. It was actually told to me by someone from a supported living agency. Briefly told me about it, and I learned a little bit about it. And then luckily I got into the phase-in program. I guess that's what they call it, phase-in program for the 3-year program. But it wasn't easy, and it isn't easy. So my first thing I want to tell people that it's not easy, but it's worth the time, and it's worth the effort to do it. And with the right supports, FMSs, it can get done. So for me, it wasn't easy to get in. It wasn't easy to find support. It wasn't easy to get everything done. That's why even after close to 3 years, I'm just slowly moving into the self-determination, hiring staff, and getting my program started. I actually had to go through a couple of FMSs, or I had to do my person-centered plan, and the first person didn't do it the way that I thought was correct. This program allowed me to redo it again. So I found someone who did my person-centered plan, and luckily enough, she's staying with me, which is unheard of, but I needed someone who was going to stay with me, not just doing the person-centered plan and then leave, but it's important that you have people that stay with you after that's done, because once your person-centered plan is done, and once you get into the program, you're still going to need support with many things, and that's what I did. So I continued to work with her, and I'm starting into the program. But I do want to focus on the fact that some people say this is better, or this is better than traditional services, which is your supported living. And I will say it's not better. I would say that it's different. It can be done in a different way. And in some levels, some ways it is better, because there are 3 different models. You got your bill payer, your sole employer, and your co-employer model. And for my services personally, I am not against traditional services. In fact, I've been through a lot of agencies, and for one of my services, for my supported employment service, I'm actually using an agency. So this program allows me not just to do everything and hire people on my own, but it also allows me to to still use traditional services as me as a consumer, and my team feel that it's most appropriate. And that's why one of my services, again, for my supported employment, I am using it as an agency that's been very helpful and is working with my self-determination program. So that's something that this program allows. And I have had some setbacks, but we don't want to, some issues, but I continue to work through those issues. And I'm grateful that I have a great regional center. I have Dr. Weller, and I have Sylvia, and a lot of people on my advisory committee. The reason I joined the advisory committee, I'll explain why I joined. I joined because when I first went to a meeting, I didn't see any consumers on our advisory committee. And I thought that was wrong. I thought it looks better if you actually have some people who have skin in the game, not just parents. I appreciate parents and advocates being at meetings and even being on the board. And I love that. But I think that to have consumers have skin in the game. And then when it came time to voting for the election for chair or chairman, I decided to throw my hat in the ring, and I got the position. And I thought it was important, again, to show that, hey, it's not that regional center is not just about parents running meetings or advocates running meetings or even regional center meetings, but going to the statewide meetings, showing that, hey, consumers are actually here doing it, because it's for consumers, about consumers. So I believe it should be run by consumers. Though I wasn't trained, I had to, threw my fat in the fire, and I had to learn. I just had to learn as I went along. It's still a learning process for me, and I'm still learning. Even after 3 years of phase in, 20 years of a pilot program, every week, Jesse and Sylvia can contend. I come to them with questions, and they go, "That's never come up before." So, we discussed having a book that has all the Q&As and, ask questions. And every week or every few days, I come back to Jesse. I got a new question about something. He goes, "Okay, we got to write that one down. That's another question that hasn't been asked." And, like timesheets. How do you hire people, and how do you avoid overtime? Those were issues that I won't go into right now unless people want to know about it. But those are issues that our committee discusses and that should be discussed. But people have a lot of questions. I think people have a lot of people have the same questions. So my advice is to come to our Thursday advisory committee, and the best way to get involved into self-determination is to network. whether it's through Facebook, whether it's exchanging numbers through people, whether it's talking to Elizabeth and Fernando, talking to Richard. Everybody here has an experience. Everybody's here is more than willing to spend time and talk to you. People on our committee love to talk, and that's why our meetings usually go past the 120-minute mark, because people love to talk and share their experiences and help other people. It makes them feel good. So with that, I will pass it on, back to Jesse. But if anybody towards the end has questions for me or wants to get in touch with me or ask me how I do things or who I'm working with or what my experience was with timesheets, I'm still having problems with overtime and finding things that don't work. And that was the biggest issue for me, is when you're in traditional services, and that's where that woman who spoke before me, she was correct. It's not the same. And when you're in traditional services, you sort of let your agency handle all the nuts and bolts of everything. They handle the paychecks, they handle the payroll, they handle the hiring of staff. And if you're lucky enough to get a good supported living agency, they'll invite you in and you can help with some of that. But now you're responsible. That's the key word, self. It's about you, responsible to get things done for yourself, and it rests on your shoulders. So though I love the program and I support the program and I'm fully invested in it, it is a tough program, especially for consumer, because it's about me. I'm the one responsible for making sure that my employees get paid. If they don't get paid, if there's overtime, I gotta sign paychecks. I gotta make sure staff show up on time. There's nobody overseeing my program. It's me. So that's the scariest part for me, and that's the learning part for me, is pretty much well under the as Harvey would say, the sole employee, which he recommends. I'm the employee of record, so I'm the boss. So I support the program. I hope other people, come to the program and learn more about it. And I'll be honest, real quickly, if it's for you, I recommend it. I give people honesty. I say some people should be in it. Some people should stay in traditional services. Some people should do like me and do a little bit of both. And that's the great thing about this program. If it continues on, and I hope it does, that you can have both. We don't want to get rid of traditional services. We want to keep those agencies, and we want to support not just this program, support traditional agencies, good ones anyway, for doing what they do, and supporting our community, because we have people out there that just for whatever reason can't go into this program, and I'll do everything I can to help them get into this program, and hopefully they can get in. So that's my little thing. I will pass it back to Dr. Weller. But again, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me and talk during the Q&A. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you so much. All right, I have the opportunity to introduce Richard Deere.
Hi. I'm kind of sorry that I'm not showing up at meetings like this as the youngest person ever to do this, and that. I might be the oldest. So I want to talk about what the words traditional program meant when I was hired by Goodwill Industries in 1977 to work with a new organization called North Los Angeles County Regional Center to start what we now call traditional programs. In 1977, the traditional program was, do you want to be in a hospital or do you want to be isolated at home? So when we had conversations about the traditional, that's what we were talking about. Now, I was only 26 and I didn't have any perspective as a parent, but I was enthusiastic. I started interviewing families to be involved in some of these new programs with names like habilitation, and the families and the other loved ones of the people that showed up to become a client told me, here's what we want. We want a safe place to be all day long. If we got some good food, that would be okay. If we made $1 a week, that would be okay. We just need a safe place to be. And there was no upper level stuff like we're talking about and complaining about now. But I watched the traditional system be built as a professional in the system that I thought someday I would retire. And who knows where I'd be. My career was interesting. It took a lot of different pathways, including becoming the executive director of an agency that I worked for as a counselor, because the executive director died and it would have closed if I didn't say, I'll try. That's now Build Rehabilitation Industries. So I was a professional watching families say, we don't want anything but safety. And then expectations rose. And maybe it was like, A little help with grooming might be okay. We started to add these program components to the traditional system of nothing. Things changed for me when I had the invitation to adopt a young man who's now my 30-year-old son, Paul Deere, who had a very tough beginning. He was born in a hospital addicted to cocaine, left in a toilet. And I don't know why I said yes, except that by that time I knew that there was a regional center system that would promise to partner with me. And so we made that commitment to each other. What I'm here today to tell you is that the reason that I'm proud to be on the local advisory committee, and I'm not sure we've said enough about what that is. I think that as you begin to understand the system, the faces I see on my screen, you know what I'm talking about, but there's others I don't know. I don't know why new people are here. If this is your first experience or your 7th or 8th. I want to have something to tell you. And I think that we have to be careful when we listen. There's 2 voices in this room, and many are joined and some are really distinct, but we have authority voices and then we have advocacy voices. And what we have here in self-determination is almost like that new beginning when we were saying, what else can we do? How can we be better than just a safe place? How can we talk about meals? How can we form relationships? How can we build recreation? That's what the system built. And we're now looking at it as traditional, as if it's not incredibly generous of our community to give this to our, we don't have this in many other places. I serve people in other states as a care manager. That's my daytime profession, is care manager. And I have families that I know well, that I love in other states where being on a waiting list counts as a service. So we already have this great blessing, but we have this opportunity to reinvent it. I became a member of the board of trustees, not because I was looking for work like I was in the 70s and 80s, but because my son was in the system and I knew he was totally dependent on it surviving me. I started to notice ways that what had become traditional was blocking individuality. And I may be one of the only people in this state that can say my budget is adequate, because my regional center spent a lot of wasted money trying to take care of my son in a way that I could see was safe. I was one of those parents saying, just keep him safe. And I'll worry about his sexuality and his friendships later, just keep him safe. But when I started to hear about a system that didn't have the traditional guidelines that now frustrate us, I said, that's what we need. And so I became interested in the law. I met people like Judy Mark. And when they started talking about the law that had passed, it talked about this local advisory committee that every regional center has formed. And you have to pay attention to this, no matter who you are, whether you're an independent facilitator, part of North LA staff. They're all volunteers. I'm one of them. Christina's one of them. Jordan's one of them. John Francis is one. We come from roles of parents or professionals, or we're in the system as consumers. But we're on the side of advocacy and trying to hear and solve problems. So be sure that you know we're a resource, whether you're a board member of North LA or a person just coming today for the first time to hear about it. Our Thursday night meetings are a place where you can be heard, and the problems that you have will become advocacy problems for us to work with the regional center. I'm almost amazed to say that our regional center is now fully involved in this program. There were times when I felt that it never would be. As a parent, we want more than is possible at the moment, but we have a real opportunity. So I'm going to direct you to your local advisory committee as a resource, whether your problem is getting paid or finding a support or understanding why you can't get reimbursed. We may not have the answers, but we're trying to make the system work because we depend upon it for our families or ourselves. So learn about the local advisory committee and come talk to us about what's good and what's happening so we can spread the word. Our system is going to find out what we can do together in 10 years. We have such a big opening now. We don't know where it's going to go. The kinds of alliances that families will form. The regional center has the opportunity to become independent facilitator experts And that, I think, is going to be the survival of our system, is how that happens and unfolds. But for those of you just starting out, it is doable. It seems complicated, but you don't have any idea how less complicated it is than that traditional system that was stay home or go to a hospital. So thank you for your attention, and let's get this going for everybody. We got to get it bigger and stronger so it'll survive for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much, and for all your advocacy. The next local volunteer advisory committee member I have the pleasure of introducing is Sandra Baker.
Hello, everyone. Sandra Baker. My son was born with Down syndrome and later on diagnosed with autism. And I got involved because I want my son to be part of the community, our local community. And give me, thank you. Sorry, my son is here. Hold on a second. I got it. Okay. 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 I am so sorry, you guys. So I got involved because I want my son to be part of the community, and not just physically be in the community, but for the community to recognize my son as one, a member of the, a value member of our community. And
Mom, you can say hi, please.
okay, say hi. I'm sorry, he's not gonna go until he says hi.
Hi, Larry.
Hey. Hey, guys.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Larry. Good to see you.
How are you?
you?
Nice seeing you.
Great.
Good to see you.
Hey, Larry, join the meeting.
Yeah, to meet
Oh, we're
you.
talking about you, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Larry?
I think we have
Okay.
the hockey.
Okay, you're gonna go to hockey. Okay, I'm sorry, you guys.
Oh,
But so I want, anyway, so what I like Christina, our kids work together in the same program. And like Christina, I think we all fear the day when we're not protect our kids. So I want to create this community for him. So the community takes, and I want him to have the life that he deserves, not the life that we schedule for him. This is, like I see a lot of programs where this is what you do every day, and it's probably nothing that they enjoy doing. So what I'm trying to create is something that he enjoys, things that he loves, and it's just particular to him, not to anybody else. Because I think for the longest time since he was a baby, we've been put in a bucket of, oh, you have a kid with Down syndrome. And so these are the things that kids with Down syndrome do. This is what, and so my son is an individual, and I want him to be treated as such. And I want him to be valued in our local community. And I want people to get to know him in just around here, around our house. And so that's why we're trying to find opportunities for him to do that, and for others besides my immediate family to get to love this wonderful human being, So anyway, so that's the reason I'm part of this committee. And we started in this committee 5-6 years ago, and now it's a reality. For a little while, I think we were having doubts about it, but it's here, and we're gonna find a lot of challenges. But at the end, I think that it's gonna be worth it once we actually get to that goal. And I tell you, just like Christina's son, my son doesn't have a lot of language. But when we went through the PCP process, and I had doubts that he was gonna really have a lot to say about his life, but he really participated. And the thing that was so amazing, it was at the end, our PCP person said, is there anything else anybody wants to say that we didn't talk about? And my son said, yes, we didn't talk about church. You know, I want to go to church and I want to play music at church, you know. And so I was like, whoa, you know, I wouldn't even think about those things because and that's the thing, you know, I don't believe in religion. And so for my son to have those wishes and for us to make that happen, I think it's going to be wonderful because I don't want him to just do the things that I want in my beliefs. He can be his own person, you know. And so, you know, I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe in God. I believe in God. I just don't believe in organized religion. But obviously he wants to go to church. And he tells us that he wants to be part of the church and he wants to play music at the church, you know. So we're going to make that happen. I don't know how, but we're going to make it happen. Anyway, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for listening. Thanks.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you so much for your input and your perspective. Thank you, thank you. All right, the next Volunteer Advisory Committee member that I get to introduce is Ellen Janal.
Hi, everyone. Hard following all these wonderful messages from everybody, but I'm Ellen Janal. I'm a mom to a 32-year-old autistic son, and I've been on the committee since the very inception of the committee. And like Sandra said, through the years, we weren't really ever sure, was this going to happen? And thankfully it has happened. I was always interested once I first heard about what self-determination was, because I'm a big believer in nothing about us without us. And I feel that our children and self-advocates have a right to determine where they want their life to go and live the life that they want to live. So once I heard that it was coming to California, I definitely wanted to be involved. And once the committees were formed, I jumped in as quickly as I could. We are just getting into self-determination. We are starting on July 1st. I was, as much as I was so excited about it, I was also very intimidated. Independent facilitator, we are nearly there. And also kind of like what Christina had been saying and Richard and everybody, my husband and I, we are getting older. I am really fearful about what is going to be for my son when we're no longer here. Sorry. We started off, we had 3 children. Unfortunately, 2 of our sons passed away. And so that natural support that was always going to be there for my son is like no longer there. So having the opportunity to set up a program and services that are unique to him is very important. We went a lot of years without any services for Regional Center because the programs out of the box just did not suit him. And it just wasn't working. So I'm very thankful that we now have that opportunity to have things that will meet his needs. And I'm very excited that it's here, and I encourage people to be coming to our Thursday meetings. And if you want to get involved in the committee, we need voices, and we appreciate any input, and welcome. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much for your words. You bring up some real concerns that the parent perspective have. And so I think at the end of the day, we always remember that we're kind of one family and one community. So, and we will navigate. So thank you for putting a voice to this experience. So thank you. All right, I have the opportunity to introduce Josefina Romo.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name is Josefina Romo. I am a mother of 14 years old boy with autism. And my son is a regional center client also. And I am a member of this self-determination committee and an active member of the community. Why I joined the committee? I want to let you know, first, because I think it's a great program. This program offers great opportunities to our children since the traditional system has no access to some services. And with the self-determination, maybe we can have it. So I want my son to benefit from this program and others like him, other kids like him. And second, because as a member of the community and mother, I want to represent all these parents of my community, especially the Spanish-speaking ones. And I'm very excited about this program because I think that the kids, the regional center clients can be benefited by this program and also by the agencies who are here helping. I think everybody can help. We can ask them for support, and this is a great opportunity. Regional Center gave us this opportunity. The committee is ready to help, and all the agencies here, I think they can help us. So don't be afraid. Let's try. We have the chance. If we feel like it's not gonna work, I think we can go back to the traditional system, but I think we have to try. We have to try, and we have to look for the support by the regional center and by this agency helping us. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Josefina. And you got some acknowledgments in the chat as well for your advocacy as a super advocate.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the last introduction I'm going to do before we move into our next part of our, I'm trying to manage the time for our town hall, is introducing Rachel Leach, Office of Client Rights and Advocacy and Disability Rights California. I'll turn it over to you, Rachel.
Thank you, Dr. Weller. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Leach, and like Dr. Weller said, I am the Clients Rights Advocate from the Office of Clients Rights Advocacy and Disability Rights California that serves the North Los Angeles area. OCRA, the Office of Clients Rights Advocacy, was created to advocate on behalf of consumers of each regional center to help ensure that consumers are receiving the proper and necessary supports and services. There are 21 clients' rights advocates across the state, and I specifically work with consumers and participants of the North Los Angeles Regional Center. And according to law, a client's rights advocate shall be part of each of the self-determination local advisory committees. So that is the role I play, although if I was not, according to law, to be a part of the committee, I also hope to be able to volunteer and to be able to make sure that consumers' voices are heard. The Clients Rights Advocate is part of the local advisory committee to help ensure that the interests of regional center consumers and participants are at the forefront. We look out for participant feedback about the self-determination program, so what's working well and any barriers that someone may be experiencing. And like I had said earlier, we want to make sure that the consumer and participants in the program voices are being heard. I'm incredibly excited about the Kickoff campaign and the self-determination program, and that it'll be open for all, because access to self-determination increases a participant's choice and self-empowerment. OCRA consistently speaks with parents and consumers, participants, and agencies about self-advocacy and the importance of making a consumer's voice heard. I believe self-determination provides a greater arena for participants to be greater self-advocates. Additionally, self-determination opens many avenues for participants to choose different types of services and those that are unique to them. Self-determination can be completely tailored to a participant's needs. Just wanting to let everybody know, if individuals have questions regarding self-determination or other legal issues, you can please feel free to reach out to the Office of Clients Rights Advocacy, and we can chat about that. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much. We appreciate your advocacy as well. And I am pleased to announce, looking at the time here so we can stay on track, I'm pleased to announce the next part of our town hall where we'll introduce individuals who will be supporting self-determination. As many of you may have known, or I can inform you now, that the regional centers received allocations for implementation to help support the implementation of self-determination. And North LA completed the request for proposal process, and we have selected awardees. We're going to be working on the contracts next, but we wanted to take this opportunity to share with you who the individuals are and to hear a little bit about their work that they're going to be doing to support self-determination. And those entities today are going to be Integrated Community Collaborative, will be Disability Voices United, Autism Society of Los Angeles, the Legacy Center, Claudia Wenger, Claudia Care Consulting, and a collaborative with Doris Longmire, Melissa Longmire, and Diane Bernstein. So we have a strong community who will be focused on different efforts related to the implementation to get people into self-determination. And you'll get to meet individuals now. So our first meet and greet and presentation will be with Elizabeth and Fernando Gomez with the Integrated Community Collaborative, ICC.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Weller, and everyone. What a pleasure to be here today and in this kickoff celebration and hearing these amazing stories. I think one of the hardest things among many that this whole pandemic challenge brought was our inability to give hugs, because I think we would have been giving hugs to everybody. I mean, beautiful, relatable, and just open. Yes, open sharing. And really, I think as we share about who we are in our organization, really that's what we build it on. We build it on individuals, on people, on the hearts, on really identifying. And that's what I think is it Ellen who said that, it's nothing about us without us. And we're so quick to point out issues and challenges, but we should be quicker to point out solutions and options as well. And Christine, I love your term, turn fear into freedom, because it goes along with ours that says turn your worry to glory. And it's really what we want to talk about today. My name is Fernando Gomez, and I'm a co-founder of the Integrated Community Collaborative, as well as a father of a 14-year-old with Down syndrome, who will probably do the same thing that Sandra's son did, come in a minute and interrupt our presentation. Elizabeth?
Hi. First of all, I just want to say thank you. It really is amazing and an honor to be here this afternoon. We have been working with North Los Angeles County Regional Center for now almost 2.5 years, and it is only just every day for me an incredible opportunity to continue to collaborate, and now collaborating with self-determination program. I have a lot more that I want to say, but I want to give also the opportunity to also thank everyone that just spoke. I also want to tell you that for me to hear the committee, North Los Angeles County Advisory Committee, from the heart, and everything that you have said has actually made it so much more important for me to want to be part of the work that all of you are doing. I have to say that I'm also a member of the local advisory committee for my regional center, but just being here is exciting. I can hear the hearts, I can feel the enthusiasm to make self-determination an amazing program that the community is waiting and expecting and wanting to be part of. So that's why I'm excited to be here. We have a short presentation, and I know we have to stay within the time, so I'm going to move on to that. But I also want to say that for me, it has been a great opportunity that many years ago, Judy Mark was the first person who introduced me and told me all about self-determination. She created the first person-centered plan for my son when he was 7 years old. And I was, at that time, didn't even understand what that was all about, but it changed my way of thinking, and it has made me part of this dream since that day. My son was in elementary school, and now he's almost in high school. And I can't believe how many years have passed and how long it has taken, but we are part of this dream. and we are here to help the community. We're here to make this a very successful participation and collaboration.
And as we come to this crossroad, you know, we look at, you know, Ruth Jenka, Dr. Weller, and staff. We look at, you know, John Francis and the team that was introduced, Christina, the board, the community, and everyone who's here together. We're at this crossroads today. 50-something odd years after the Latterman Act was enacted, this is really the most profound, impactful program that will make a difference in our community. And it's exciting. I mean, I love the fact that it's called a kickoff campaign. Geez, about 6 years ago, we sat down with a group of other parents, included Judy Mark, and said, we need to do something. We need to get more involved. You know, we knew self-determination was on the coming in and becoming this reality. We also knew that we had to unite our voices. And that's when we helped also co-found DVU, which we'll be doing a presentation in a minute. And as DVU was launched, we realized we have to do one more thing, and that is go deep into the community and you help unite it. And that's when we launched our organization called the Integrated Community Collaborative, the ICC, as a way to take on a peer-to-peer basis, parents, self-advocates, and other hand raisers in our community say, let's work together. Let's hold hands and let's kind of ease on down the road together. Let's look at all these things because it is overwhelming. It is very scary. And now we're happy to say that we introduced an outreach model called the Integradoras, the integrators. Many of them are here today, I know, in attendance, and we're grateful for them because that is really the flow of the energy. That is really the lifeline of what ICC is, and that is all of us, the community here. In essence, all of you are integrators because we've advocated, we've fought, and we've gotten to this crossroad today. And to be able to be part of a program, to be able to help our community, our participants in this program that we've been awarded is doing the one-on-one coaching. And that is that one-on-one hand-holding, the one-on-one embracing and say, let's figure this out. Let's meet you where you're at. And through extensive trainings and access to information and lessons that were learned through lived experience, we're able to come back and say, let's figure this out. Our son has been part of the program now since January, but as Elizabeth shared with you, we've been aware and part of this for many years now. All of our members are certified independent facilitators, and the ones who are not as of yet will be through this training process we're putting them through. And also many are certified trainers as well. So well-versed in the program, but that doesn't guarantee, and I think Jordan, you're the one who verbalized it. We still have a lot to learn as we go down the road. There's still, we're gonna see what works and there's things that won't work, but we're gonna do it together to kind of offset a lot of those challenges and those fears. And how we plan on doing that is, of course, one-on-one. But in addition, we believe in community. We believe in coming together as that united front. So we're going to also make available a very informal social settings where people will have this type of discussion and open up, because that's when you really hear the real nitty gritty, right? You really get the good substance things, and we can then figure out that we capture that as a systemic challenge and then find a solution for it. But we're also going to do trainings. We're going to provide thematic trainings for the individuals that we're supporting and helping, so that they're able to become more informed and well-versed in their efforts. So in essence, I think that's the crux of what we're going to be bringing to the table. Elizabeth?
Well, I also wanted to share for all people that are here with us that we have been navigating the regional center system in the traditional system. And this is exactly what we do. We hold hands with the community and we navigate the system together with all the integradoras. So we've already been doing this for about 2.5 years with North Los Angeles County Regional Center, but technically we've been doing this for a lot longer. So for us, it was very natural to make that transition and still continue to hold hands in a program that we believe in a program that we know that the community is really looking forward to understand and be part of that, you know, learning. We're all learning, but we're all also at the same time have to celebrate every step of the way. So to this date, I think that the number one thing for the integradoras has been, let's have fun and let's enjoy the process. It's amazing to be part of the person-centered plans. It's amazing to be part of those families. It's great to be with the spirit of the self-advocates and to really understand and be in their lives and be able to make those dreams come true. All those things that all of you have been talking about. For us, the integradoras are parents, and we have self-advocates, and our community, Comunidad Integrada, for us is really all about really wanting to be part of the community, part of the hearts, part of the families, and this is what we celebrate today. The self-determination program, we are committed. We are here to help. We are here to be part of the process for North Los Angeles County Regional Center and be able to make the best that we can. So that's, at the end of the day, what we are committed to do with you. We're excited about this advisory committee, the staff, the executives, and the directors of North Los Angeles County Regional Center. We know we've had a successful program as of right now, and we know we can make it better going forward. So I do want to thank you.
So our sincere apologies to the interpreter, as we probably just jammed through all these things really quick, but just really quick, and we'll wrap it up at this point. But and Christina, to your point, to become completely independent, we have to be interdependent. And that is the community. That's us. That's everyone here together, working together for that interdependence so that we can support. Our fear is like yours. I mean, as parents, what will happen to our child once we're no longer here? Are we setting them up for success? One of the key things and the reason the ICC came aboard was because we understand that even within our system, and especially launching a new program like self-determination, we have to be careful with disparities, the barriers that create disparities. We have to identify them, address them, and make sure that they're eradicated so the program can be successful for everybody and everybody can have that independence. So look forward to the Q&A. Hopefully we'll have some time for that because really at the end of the day, the community is really where it's at. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth and Fernando. Thank you for all the work and supports on behalf of the center that you do. So thank you, thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Judy, Mark, and Molly for Disability Voices United.
Thank you, Jesse. Thanks, everybody. This has been an amazing event. And I'm really, really excited for Disability Voices United to partner with the local advisory committee and North LA Regional Center on some of these activities. Okay, so as you heard, my name is Judy Mark. I'm the president and co-founder of Disability Voices United. I'm also a parent of a 24-year-old son who's served by Westside Regional Center and who is a self-determination participant. And we're really excited. So we've been asked by the committee to assist in two areas. Number one, with joint training for the committee themselves, for families, as well as for self-advocates in the self-determination program or people interested in it. We're also going to be working with the committee on putting on some resource fairs and some events, both hopefully in person at some point, as well as online. So you can go to the next slide. So let me tell you a little bit about who we are. Disability Voices United. We are an organization directed 100%. All of our staff and all of our board of directors are people with disabilities and family members of people with disabilities. We were founded by the individuals who wrote the self-determination law back in 2013 and got it passed. We've been very active in the implementation of the program. We have hosted, along with the Autism Society of Los Angeles, where I used to serve and volunteer, the several self-determination conferences. And we had just one in April that was attended by over 1,400 people from around the state because it was online. Usually we get between 500 and 600 people in person. We've authored 2 books on the self-determination program, Think Outside the Box and Profiles in Self-Determination. We run a weekly or every other weekly program online called SDP Connect, which allows people from around the state who are in the program, regional center staff and others, to learn together about the program. And we also host a website called theinterchange.org, which is a free website for anyone interested in self-determination. There's a forum on it where you can discuss things, ask people questions about a range of subjects. And we also have lots of information that we keep updated there. Also, the recordings of our last sort of 30, and we've done about 30 SDP Connects are all living on that website. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here are I want to also, before I move on, introduce one of our staff members who will be assisting me. Molly Kennedy, would you please introduce yourself and talk a little bit about the work that you'll be doing?
Hi, I'm Molly Kennedy, and I'm pleased to be with Disability Voices United. I'm a regional center client, and I'm in my 2nd year of self-determination. As Sandra Baker said, her son should have the life he deserves. And I believe all regional center clients should have a life they deserve. And one of the things I believe is self-determination is about the individual, the regional center client, and their families, but it's about the individual. And so what I'll be working on is training for regional center clients that even though they have a great support group and their parents are helping them, we want these individual regional center clients, self-advocates, to know what it takes to put a self-determination plan together. So we are going to be creating trainings that are in very plain language, in accessible formats, and it's going to be for individuals that have all learning types. So we want to make it so when you're on your spectrum of disabilities, that you can learn this information. Because I believe, and I think Judy hopefully believes, I'm sure she does, that as individuals, we're not participating in developing our plan. We're leading the way to develop our plan with our support group around us. So that's what I'll be doing with DVU. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. We're so excited about that. In addition to those self-advocate peer trainings that Molly spoke about, we'll also be leading trainings for families that will be led by family members and probably some self-advocates as well. We believe that it's important for families to hear from self-advocates about making sure that person-centered planning is about the person and is led by the person, directed by the person, as Molly said. We'll also be probably providing trainings for the local advisory committee on ways to run meetings effectively. Although I have to say, having been to a few of your meetings, they're very effective. So there's probably just very little I can add, but as you can see from this event today, they're very warm and welcoming. We are going to provide trainings on all kinds of issues, from person-centered planning to individual budget development to how to create a spending plan and other subjects that the committee has asked us to be working on. We're also going to be providing some support in creating some resource fairs. So these are fairs where you as participants can go now online and hopefully in the near future in person to meet independent facilitators and financial management service providers, to be able to choose someone that works for you, to meet prospective service providers, people who might be able to help you with health issues, with sports, with personal training. You might meet someone to help you build relationships in the community. And ways through these resource fairs to get to know other participants and family members. Because as a parent, I know that that the best things I've ever learned in my life are from other parents. And I know self-advocates often learn the best things they've learned from other self-advocates. So we will help facilitate that. So we're very much looking forward to all of you advising us on where we can be helpful. And I'm going to hand it back to Jesse, and thank you all for letting us participate.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Molly. We're very excited for all the possibilities for self-determination. So thank you, thank you. Our next presenter will be for Autism Society of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Dr. Weller. I'm Kim Sinclair. I'm the Executive Director of Autism Society of Los Angeles. And more importantly, I'm also the parent of an 18-year-old who is not in the North LA County Regional Center. He's in Harbor Regional Center. But having navigated for 18 years in the traditional system, I am super excited for the self-determination program. And a shout out to Judy Mark and the Lapins for being so instrumental in it. I'd also like to introduce you to Rosie Lasker, who is on the webinar as well. And Rosie is our project leader who will be instrumental in helping us navigate our project with North LA Regional Center. So who's Autism Society of Los Angeles? We actually empower individuals with autism and other disabilities and their families and professionals through advocacy, education, and community support to ensure equitable quality of life for all. We were one of the co-sponsors of the self-determination law and have likewise been a leader in the implementation. During 2019 and 20, ASLA, in collaboration with DBU, has trained over 340 culturally and linguistically diverse individuals under the cross-cultural independence facilitator trainings and ongoing support for the self-determination program. So we were thrilled to get accepted and to be invited to collaborate with North LA Regional Center to support participants transitioning to self-determination. And we're going to help do this by providing training to local individuals to gain the knowledge and skills they need to become successful independent facilitators. And ASLA, one of our core competency is training. As you know, I just said we've trained over 340 independent facilitators just in the last couple of years. But like DBU suggested, we have also been involved in trainings and conferences to the community for many, many years in a range of different topics. The important part of this is what we heard from Jennifer St. Jude, is that the independent facilitator is one of the keys to the success of individuals navigating into self-determination. And so we're really excited that we've been selected to actually help support these individuals and provide them the knowledge so that they're able to help the clients that are in North LA. It will include the person-centered plans, spending plans, everything that an independent facilitator needs to be able to support their clients. So here's the project details. We're providing the independent facilitator certification training. We'll be inviting people within this catchment to join this comprehensive training. They'll learn the principles and the foundations of the self-determination program. And at the end of it, they will be able to engage with the community to help the individuals. Our key training speakers include Judy Mark, who you've met already on the webinar, and also Dr. Sally Burton-Hoyle, an expert in person-centered planning. We're providing 4 independent facilitator trainings over the course of a 12-month period. So as more and more people in the community find out about it and engage, we'll be so excited to have them join us. And we are also going to be providing Spanish language translation. If you're interested, if there are people on the call, I mean, there's a lot of folks here today. And although we don't have the registration forms and everything available for you just yet, if you are interested, please reach out to us at info@autismla.us, or our phone number is 424-299-1531. And as I said, Rosie and I are super excited to begin the collaboration. Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt, Jesse, but when is the first training for Kim?
Yeah. And we're hoping it'll be within the next in the next quarter. Yeah, we're keen to get started just as you are.
Thank you so much. We're very excited for all the great work ahead of us. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Cheers.
I know Diane Bernstein, if you want to talk about your proposal.
Hello. Talk about flexibility. Right now, my son is leading his staff meeting of the people that he has hired in his first year, heading into his second year in self-determination, without his mom, without his dad. I am Diane Bernstein, and for the past 10 years, I have been active in our special needs community, as an advocate, educator, mentor. I met Doris Longmire first at the 2019 resource fair that we had, and we were both outreach persons, wanting to bring this information to our community. So, with her unique expertise, she's a systems person. She's not just navigated, she was a self-determination specialist, knowing all the systems at the regional center, and partnering up with her. And here I am as a participant family. We're entering the second year. Together, we're individualizing our coaching supports. We're bringing this collaborative partnership approach. And that is important, not just for our catchment area, but all of the collaboration and partnerships that we formed in other areas that we bring here as well. To fast track participants in all the steps of self-determination, from person-centered planning to the implementation, to review, to beyond. Beyond has not really been talked about. Together with North Los Angeles County Regional Center, we are coaching this process to get through from the unstuck, to get from the overwhelmed to being unstuck, to get to the joys of self-determination.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Diane. Appreciate it greatly. We appreciate all your efforts in advocacy. Okay, our next presentation overview will be with Claudia Wenger, Claudia Care Consulting.
Hi, Dr. Weller. Thank you for the introduction. I'm really thrilled to be a part of this absolutely amazing program, and also amazing team that is gathered here today to present this wonderful program. A little bit about me. I've been working in the special needs community, I'm going to date myself, since about 1988. I started as a special ed teacher. I've done work in full inclusion. I worked with kids as young as 3 years old. And I also developed and managed adult services. So I've worked with individuals who, I think my oldest was about 65 years old. So I've had a long career in the special needs community. I'm also a board certified behavior analyst. And I opened up my practice to support families, but particularly interested in what is sometimes called the secondary transition, helping individuals from school to adult services. And I started working in self-determination a little over 2 years ago. And I have supported actually over 25 clients to participate in self-determination, most of them here at North LA, which is my hometown. So I'm really excited, and I'm really thrilled to be picked to be a coach for North LA because one of the things is that it's a phenomenal program, but it is sometimes confusing, and sometimes we have a whole new set of vocabulary and budget and spending and what's the difference and PCP and SDP and IF and FMS, and it's just so confusing. And I'm really excited to be able to help people kind of navigate that process and make it easy and accessible and help people through so that they can enter self-determination. It's an amazing program. It is, I can't say more about it. I think that I'll just be quoting everybody else that has said stuff before me, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But I think that to the most part, this is the type of program that could really work for a lot of different people. And my role in here as a coach will be to help people through that process, to be that extra person who can shed light. Okay, this is what you want to do now. This is what would work best, how to kind of make it all work and come together. And so I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time because it's really individualized. So whatever I would say might only be good for one person. So, but I hope to be able to work with anybody who is interested, and let's go, self-determination. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you so much. So exciting, so much possibilities. We appreciate it. All right, our last presentation will be the Legacy Center. I'll turn it back to you, Jacqueline, for the Legacy Center.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Weller. Again, we are all flexible. We live the life, so we know the need to kind of move and groove and zig and zag with what is presented to us. So thank you, everyone. I am Jacqueline Biscara, the director of the Legacy Center in Woodland Hills. I'm here representing our education team and our Circles of Support program. I apologize, this was supposed to be a dynamic presentation, but since I can't share from my own desktop, I didn't want to give Sylvia a lot of clicking to do. So before I share about our program, I definitely want to thank everyone here for their commitment and dedication to the self-determination program. Without the collective support of the professionals, volunteers, advocates, consumers, and families, so I think we all deserve a round of applause for the efforts that we collectively have put into the celebration of the launch as of July 1st. I'll share real quickly, as an individual and as an organization, we are so excited about self-determination as a way to renew hope to consumers and families to evolve into their best selves and to design a life that is of their own choice and their own making. Traditional services are limiting, especially for those in our community who are the most impacted and the least served. I myself have been a mother to such an individual, so I know of what I speak. And in my mind, self-determination really levels the playing field by allowing free choice. And I believe that choice in life is everything. So I hope you come away today with a sense of who we are as an organization and our philosophy concerning self-determination. I'm going to share a little bit about our program, a brief overview of our small group, immersive and exploratory Circles of Support program, which we really see as an option for consumers after the consumer SDP orientation. So we are at the core, parents and facilitators, educators, advocates, and service providers. And while you see only a few faces here, I want to quickly acknowledge the people behind the scenes for us who advise, encourage, and support our program. As we like to say, it takes many hearts and many hands to allow us to do what we do as an organization. So our basic tenets from our inception in 2007 have really revolved around self-determination in terms of autonomy and competence and relatedness. And we feel these are the three pillars of a balanced and fulfilling life. So thank you, Sylvia. We are a service menu program, which means that consumers coming to us for help will be able to choose from a menu of topics. We are going to be delivering this in two formats. One is small group, which will be meetups, very small, intimate meetups of 6 to 8 people. And it will be a workshop style education. And it can be about all aspects of SDP. If you're starting right at the beginning and you come out of orientation and say, oh my goodness, it was 3 hours of information, I really need to absorb this in smaller chunks, we offer that. It can also be small group around specific topics related to self-determination. So again, consumers can pick and choose from our service menu. And we also offer a second option, which is a la carte, which would be individual sessions on specific program topics. And these would be in 1 hour time slots. And there would be a limit on the number of sessions. So we definitely do not want to overlap with any of the other services that are really geared, as someone said earlier, to provide that hand-holding. That's not where we see our role. We are more of a 411 kind of education versus a 911. Could you go back 1 second? I had one more point on that slide. Sorry, Sylvia. I also want to stress also that, that was forward. I also want to stress that, or you could go around if you want, it's only 5 slides. So I also wanted to stress that our program is multimodal and accessible to all levels of learners. We definitely want to draw those consumers in who are challenged with either physical, motor, speaking challenges. There we go. Thank you, Sylvia. So again, in the upper right, we are multimodal and AAC accessible. We will also be providing Spanish translation services. So if you think you're the type of family that has not fit in because of communication issues, definitely come and speak to us, and we can tell you how we can best accommodate any of those particular challenges. But we have yet to be not able to make our content accessible, and especially because it is multimodal and multimedia. Thank you, Sylvia. Next, please. So here is our service menu, and we are going to be delivering 8 options. And of course, underneath all of these are subcategories. So consumers can't select based on subcategories, but they can select from these 8 on more specific information that they want to become acquainted with. And again, I want to stress, we are not the 911, we are the 411, and happily so. I think it's important to discuss responsibilities on the participant side as well, so that you as consumers know what you're getting into. So we basically are asking for 3 things. We want consumers who sign up with us to commit to all weeks of the small group session, so that you aren't taking a seat for another family because space is going to be limited. We also ask that you complete all of the virtual, in-person, and offline program activities. So we're a very interactive kind of education. So there will be exercises we do as a group, and then there will be offline activities for consumers and families and facilitators to complete. And that's important because those exercises will feed into the next week's content. And the last thing we ask is that consumers utilize our one-to-one sessions. only for specific issues related to our program content. So again, stressing, if you need more help than we can provide, we're going to tell you that, and we're going to try to refer you to another resource on this screen, and probably that you'll have a listing of as we ramp up after July 1st. So next, please, Sylvia. So I talked about us being interactive, and this is just a quick look at some of the interactive activities we have done. Most recently in a module, a 6-week module, which we called Life by Design. So I wanted to give you a visual of some of the things we would be doing, not necessarily these, but the type of content. Next, please, Sylvia. So I think it's also important for consumers as they are shopping for help, for them to know what is the outcome of your program. And so there are basically 5 things we think we can provide. And I won't take time since I know we're short on it. You can just read this. It'll be, I think, available, as Dr. Weller said, after the fact. But we want to make that commitment to our signups up front. These are the things you're going to be able to walk away with if you go through our program and participate in all exercises. Next, please, Sylvia. So I just want to leave you, I have heard the pain from families that I have talked to, from our own participants about self-determination. And this is one of my favorite sayings, quote by Paula Finn. You may not always know exactly where you're headed. Hello, SDP. But if you follow the desires of your heart, the integrity of your conscience, and the wisdom of your soul, then each step you take will lead you to discover more of who you really are. And it will be a step in the right direction on the journey of a lifetime. And after all, we only have one lifetime to live. So I wholeheartedly say, let's go out and embrace self-determination and make it all that it can be. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jacqueline, and thank you for working with us as we're trying to get the PowerPoint up. We very much appreciate it. Very excited for your project as well. I wanted to extend a warm thank you on behalf of the center of all of the participation and all of the efforts that's gone in on behalf of our committee, the Local Volunteer Advisory Committee, parents, advocates, also for our awardees who are venturing into some fantastic work at a very much needed time to really genuinely to get people into self-determination. I think we have a powerful community here that can help support a successful continuation and launch, and to acknowledge the self-determination being live and open to everybody who wants self-determination. So I just want to say thank you. I want to acknowledge everybody here and also the audience for being with us today. I think we got up to over 120, now we're down to 99 participants, so very well attended today. I do want to invite you to stay connected with us. I want to invite you that if you have any Q&A, make sure it gets in there. That way we have the opportunity to respond and get back to you. Given the time we went way over today, which I'm glad we had the discussion and all the presentations. So please let us know if you have questions. If you're having any particular specific circumstances in self-determination, please reach out. We'll put Sylvia Haro and the specialist, their contact information, so you can reach out to us directly so we can help problem solve. And if you need any other supports in self-determination or questions, please let us know and reach out. We're here, and we will be putting out information in a news you can use to summarize our meeting from today, and also any materials. We'll work with the panel, and just want to say thank you to everybody. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the day, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Dr. Weller. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen.